talk about the disappointment that I have with the New York City Department, especially dealing with the New York City Parks Department and with the commissioner and with the administration. I have through my office allocated close to $6 million. $6 million for capital improvement in our parks, and to this day, we have not seen an architectural plan. We have not seen designs for any park. I keep being told. I remember last November I was told by the Bronx commissioner that we were going to have plans ready back in January. Now they're telling me that hopefully sometime next year. And this is a prime example what we have right here in the park, the Mount Hope Park. 5 years ago it was closed down. It was built, and just a few months later it was shut down because the Parks Department didn't do their job right. They didn't do the borings, they didn't investigate what was underneath, and what we have right behind us is a house that is that was filled with landfill, and now we have right here one of the worst parks. If this was in Manhattan, I guarantee you they wouldn't be in this condition for 5 years. Here in the Bronx, we deserve better. Here in the Bronx, we expect better. This is not a lack of funding, and this is systemic all throughout the city. This is not just about my councilman district. I'm speaking on behalf of all the council members, some that have waited 7 years for the parks to be renovated. And so they end up playing a game of sifting and moving capital from one project to another. They'll have funding that will go to one project, and then they'll tell us, well, there's not enough funding for that project, and then in the meantime they'll take some of that funding to do some of the work in another park. And we saw this through the funding that was allocated in the Filtration Park, specifically the Regatta Park, where the chair at that time, who's my chief of staff now, at one time there was no money. All of a sudden the money reappeared after a few years later, after it had been allocated. And so we have the Mount Hope Garden. $1 million went here to this particular park, the Grand Avenue Playground. $2.7 million to reconstruct the garden, fencing, benches, playground, to have a state-of-the-art park for the young people. The young people are playing a substandard park. Water runs into the houses right next to it whenever it rains. It's just inadequate drainage that we have there. St. James Park, give them money to fix the basketball court, paint the basketball courts, because we have even citywide tournaments that take place there where we have outsiders that come in and see, and we were asked to give money towards that. Again, nothing has occurred. And right here, this triangle, we put $35,000 towards the camera, and I'm giving an excuse that there's no place to put the camera. And I'm looking at the pole right now where you can put a camera right there. And again, all I'm getting is excuses after excuses and excuses. And then we have, of course, the Regatta Park that the money has been allocated many, many years, even before I became a council member. And so, as you can see in this park, it has gone through a land depression. We have water that sits there. Mosquitoes now are being farmed here, and we have kids in this area. The children are asking, why can't I go to the park? Why can't it get fixed? And the reason it's not getting fixed is because the park department is dragging their feet. At this moment, I'm going to have Jeff to come. Jeff, I'm sorry.
Jeffrey
Croft from the New York City Park Advocates. We're going to speak to you about a particular issue that we're going to accentuate and we're going to go after because of the monies that are being allocated is not really going and used the way it should be. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Absolutely, thank you. Well, first, my name is Jeffrey Croft. I'm president of New York City Park Advocates. And first, I actually would like to thank the council member and his staff for bringing this issue, very important issue, to light. We've gotten complaints over many years that the Parks Department's Capital Division is not doing their job. And unfortunately, this administration is more interested in groundbreakings than actually seeing these projects through completion. I actually grew up 3 blocks from here, and this is a neighborhood I know very well. And the fact that we are standing here behind this park that has been shuttered for all these years, it is absolutely a disgrace. When you look inside here, there's grass and weeds growing through a desperately needed playground that the community should be using, and that's what we pay our taxes for, and money is being wasted, which is completely unacceptable. It's shameful that these projects have been delayed. There's no excuse for them, except that this administration keeps hiring managers instead of qualified people to run their capital division. We've gotten these complaints over many years, and the city council needs to step up and support the council members that feel so strongly, because this is our tax dollars, and they're going towards projects that are, you know, the Parks Department is the #1 agency for cost overruns. #1 agency. That is completely unacceptable. As the council member mentioned, which is very important, part of the problem is the capital division does not do its due diligence on these projects. They're such in a rush to get shovels in the ground, but that is one of the major reasons why there are so many cost overruns. Another thing too, which has frustrated council members for years, is that 30% of the money that these council members allocate in discretionary funds, right off the top, gets taken away from the actual construction project itself. That is unacceptable, and that needs to be addressed. I'm also embarrassed for this community that they have had to wait so long to have their park opened. And the mayor and the city council really needs to deal with these issues citywide, and needs to hire the qualified personnel it takes to run a capital division. I want to thank the council member and the community for coming out today.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Let me just say that I think one of the fundamental problems that we have is that they don't have enough designers and architects to do this job. And so how do they determine the order of priority? It's not taking place on the basis on who put in the capital improvement dollars in first. It's happening by just their mere judgment, and we want to do this project because the mayor says go ahead and do this project. We have a perfect example in University Parks. I put in the money before he did, and yet that project is about to get done very, very soon, and I'm happy that the money went in. But what about all the other parks that the council members are allocating funds? So it seems that there is a bit of self-interest here at the very least, and total disregard to what the community wants, because to be honest with you, the reason I put money here is because people from the community came by to my office, which is just right around the corner, and they said to me, Councilman Cabrera, this part it needs to be fixed. And so immediately we started putting money towards this project and the Grand Avenue one, because of the 2 closest park, and it's still sitting there. And now we have 30%. Think about this: 30% of the monies that go in does not go directly to the project. I love to give money to the New York City Board of Education, because whenever I give them money, they get it done that year. That year, they get it done. They get moving, and I have put literally millions of dollars to our public schools. Gyms get repaired, swimming pools get restored, and they get done quickly. I haven't seen anything happen yet, and so there's an outcry here from the community, and this moment I'm going to open it up for any questions.
Sure. When did you get the funds allocated for these parks? How long has that waiting process been? What happens while you wait?
Okay. Do you want to address that first? Okay. So we have been putting funding for the last 3 years. Immediately after I won the election, in that budget cycle, the very first budget cycle, I started putting millions of dollars towards the parks. We've been sitting here waiting for 3 years. What ended up happening is we'll have meetings with them, and they'll say, look, we're sorry, we don't have enough architects, we don't have enough designer.